Well, the heat just stays tough through the rest of our work week. Plenty of sunshine today as we're back in those mid-90s. Feels like temperatures in the low 100s. Really got to be careful if you're working outside, drinking plenty of water, trying to stay hydrated. Getting in out of the heat from time to time, too. That'll really help. Most of us will stay dry. An isolated shower or storm, not out of the question. We'll drop back into the muggy mid-70s overnight for most of us around the Lake Norman area. Another day of tough heat and mainly dry for our Friday coming up. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Horn Heating and Air Conditioning is looking for HVAC rock stars. If you want to work for a company that values its employees with great pay and benefits, then give Horn Heating and Air Conditioning a try. Horn Heating and Air Conditioning, hornhvac.com.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Purple Heart Homes presents Putting the Pieces Back Together, a forum for veterans and the community to connect. Here are your hosts, veterans John Galena and Brad Borders.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm excellent. How you doing?
Man, it is so good to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in days, even though it was just moments ago.
I was in your office this morning at 8 a.m. like, hey, how are you?
No, it was not like that. It was like, hello, good morning. It was your good morning voice.
It was my good morning voice.
You know what I used to do to my kids?
What's that?
I used to make up songs on the guitar called the wake up song. I would just make up songs at random and run into their room when they were little and just play guitar songs and make up the wake up song.
That explains a lot about why Jack Borders is the way that he is.
Jack Borders is a random individual.
Fun until middle school.
Yeah. It's like, this is perfectly normal.
He drives his mother crazy, by the way.
Oh, is that right?
In case you didn't know. Well, he does. You've got this astonished look on your face.
We don't need to discuss that now.
We're airing family business right here on the old radio. Hey, welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. You can find out more about what we do for veterans each and every day at phhusa.org. And we do have one amazing listener that is on the road now from here to West Virginia, where he's going to be competing in a fitness contest with a deviated. He's got like a broken nose from jiu-jitsu, and he can't breathe out of his nose, but he's competing in this like ultra lifting, running thing. And our friend Joe Baker. So hello, Joe Baker. Be safe on your travels.
Yeah, well, good for you, Joe Baker. You got hit in the face and you just kept on going. So yeah, I mean that shows some real spirit right there.
If you're on the hunt for a personal trainer, Joe Baker will train you. You will not like it, but he will train you.
And he's going to participate and give a training day at some event we've got going on in October.
Correct.
What is that?
He'll be running the Take That Hill workout of the day.
Workout
our
of
cycling
the
event
day.
called Take That Hill.
Workout of the day.
Workout of the day
With Joe Baker.
With Joe Baker.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That happens October the 5th. Registration is open. So if you're a cyclist and you want to ride in this event, early bird pricing goes up tonight at midnight. So today's the day. First 100 cyclists that register get a free pair of Wiley X sunglasses.
Those things are sharp.
They are legit.
I've got 2 pairs now, and I don't think I can go back to it.
I have 0 pairs.
Well, maybe you should go to more of the events, Brad. I'm just.
Is that what it is?
You know, I think that
is he within slapping distance of me?
Lieutenant Colonel Don Rixie has been to more of our events than you have lately.
That is untrue.
Oh yeah,
Don has been to some events.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Speaking of which, he's our guest today.
He is our guest today. Welcome, Colonel Don. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I do have a real quick question. Is Devin's morning voice any different than his?
No. No. His volume cannot be regulated.
It's a little more enthusiastic.
This is you tired. Is that what you're saying? You're tired in the afternoon?
Yeah, this is my tired voice. Okay. Can you believe that?
He did come in one day. There was one day a number of months ago. I mean, it was actually memorable. because he did come in one day and he went, "Hey, how's it going?" And I went, "Who are you?"
What happened there?
I don't know what was wrong. I think maybe that was a, I don't know, post wine maestro night or something like that. I don't know. Some residual effects of the previous night's festivities.
Maybe I broke my nose doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
That could have happened. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, Deviated Septum, which was the name of my punk band in 1983.
There we go. And now that's the cue to get to our guest because, dad jokes.
Yeah. Colonel Rixie, how are you, sir? You're doing well, I hope.
I'm doing great. Blessed up here on Signal Mountain in Tennessee. Gorgeous up here. Love it. And couldn't be better, to be honest with you.
So for those who don't know, Signal Mountain is just outside of the beautiful city of Chattanooga. That's the way I like to say it, Chattanooga.
Oh, yeah.
And the Chattanooga Choo-Choo. I used to live in Chattanooga.
Really?
Yep. I went to a little-known school there called Macaulay, if you're familiar with it.
Well, it's one of the most expensive private schools in the country.
I know. I didn't know that at the time. I went up there to play football, and I hated it, and I ran away at Christmas. I did.
Really?
I hated it. Ted Turner's son lived across the hall from me. And
Macaulay's got a great reputation. There's another school up here called Baylor.
That's right. We used to play there.
And they're both really, really got a great reputation, good schools. And Macaulay's even older than Baylor. Been around a long time.
It's like something it's like something out of a movie. It really is. Like if you watched a movie about a prep school with a bunch of snobby rich kids. Yeah. And I got recruited to play football there. In fact, my coach up there, he said, I played offensive line. He said, "Hey, Borders, I got couple things to say about you. You're not big, but you're slow." But we had a really good football team, and we beat Baylor that year, so that was awesome.
Well, they still do. They go back and forth.
Oh yeah, it was great, man. That's a beautiful area, man. Well, Signal Mountain is a lovely place.
That's really good football, actually. If you get a chance to watch it, it's really good.
They got massive stadiums. I mean, back then we didn't have turf fields, but we had grass. But anyhow. I digress. Thank you for being on the show, sir. If you would, we got a couple minutes before our first break. Can you give everybody the quick bio of Colonel Don Rixie?
Well, sure. Born in Florida, born and raised in Central Florida, little town called Leesburg. I'm the fourth of five boys. All five of us went to college on baseball scholarships, one level or another. Baseball scholarships. I played at University of Central Florida. Was a switch hitting catcher, loved every minute of it. And then I got hurt my senior year, got a blood clot in my throwing arm. Ooh. And that kind of ended that. So plan B was to go in the military. So from there, I went to basic training, Fort Jackson, South Carolina on Tank Hill, and then went to Officer Candidate School at Fort Benning. 6 months later, from basic training to OCS, 6 months later, they crap out a second lieutenant. So from civilian to second lieutenant in 6 months. Had no military background in my family. That's just basically got enamored with the military reading as a young person, and
really,
that's how we traveled where I was at. Didn't have the money to do that, so you read to learn about different places. And I started out reading about the Pacific Theater in World War II, and that just made me want to, maybe want to serve, maybe want to contribute, and kind of go see the world. Unfortunately, the only foreign countries I really saw were in the Middle East, so that's not a good representation of the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly
I would definitely agree with that.
Agreed. From someone who's been there, I'd prefer not to go back if they don't make
it.
Well,
I would say it's my own fault. It was a self-inflicted wound because I volunteered to learn Arabic, and once you do that, you're pigeonholed into what you're going to do. So it was on me.
Hey, Don, we got about 30 seconds to our first break, and so we're grateful to have you on. This is Colonel Don Rixie, retired U.S. Army. He's our guest today. He's doing a lot of cool stuff since he got out of the Army, and we're going to hear more about that. We're going to hear a little bit more about his Army career, and we're going to talk about deviated septums.
I don't think that's on the
Okay,
agenda.
we probably won't do
I
that.
have one.
No.
Yeah, no,
Maybe we will then.
hey, we'll see you here in a few.
Keep it right here. Putting the pieces back together with John Galena and Brad Borders will return after these messages on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the heat just stays tough through the rest of our work week.
Hey, Devin, can you hear me?
We're back in those
Yep, we're back live. Yes, we can hear you. That was perfect jumping in right there. Man, you're natural at this.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, we stay live on Facebook, so this is exclusive content.
Exclusive content.
Exclusive content
Yeah.
for our
Yeah,
Facebook listeners.
I earned my deviated septum getting thrown into the butt end of a 50 cal machine gun.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
How exactly did that happen?
I was a TC I started out as an armor officer, on the M1 tanks, which is more fun than a human being should be allowed to have. Talking to the driver, and the driver didn't necessarily hear me, and he stopped abruptly. So when you're up in the turret, the 50 cal is the commander's weapon, the tank commander's weapon, and it threw me forward right into the butterfly triggers, so to speak, the butt of it. Broken nose later.
Yeah. Joe was telling me that when he went to the doctor after he broke this thing in his nose, and the doctor jammed his finger up his nose, and then had to push the septum into place.
Back into place.
And then he had to stuff this other thing up in there to hold it in place. So he only had he's literally driving to West Virginia with one of those breathe strips on his nose so that he can he said, I got about 20% breathing through my nose.
Oh, yeah.
So he's a mouth breather now. He's got chapped lips.
I showed up for PT the next day, so
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So
I have broken my nose a few times in my youth.
have you now?
No.
I enticed other people to break it
Were
for
you
me.
a pugilist? We've had this conversation already.
Well, it didn't exactly go that way. It was more like, hey, you're bigger than me. What do you want to do about that?
Let's fight.
Let's see how big.
All right, 15 seconds.
Wow.
Wow.
15.
Around the community and much more, including amazing local deals. Download the WSIC News app today.
Call now to speak with John Galena and Brad Borders at 844-STUDIO-4. It's Putting the Pieces Back Together on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together with Brad Borders and me, Devil Dog Devin.
And John Galena is on another secret mission.
Yeah. I don't know how secret that mission is.
Oh, you don't?
No, it's not. I'm pretty sure I saw his car in the parking lot when I was driving to the radio station today.
He was got a bigger name on the other line.
Yeah, it's like,
than you two guys.
sorry,
I don't need to
guys.
spend many more time with y'all. He just got off. He was on a 2-week vacation. I mean, a well-earned, well-deserved
did go,
vacation. They
yeah.
went across the whole ocean.
Yep.
Spent some time in Greece. Some pretty fantastic pictures if you follow him on Facebook. You can see a bunch of pictures of the Grecian things.
Well,
I wonder if they have Grecian formula.
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean.
You remember Grecian
It's
formula?
men hair product.
It's-
A man hair product.
It gets rid of gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that where you vacation in Greece, or do you just like the Arabic countries? As you know the language.
Vacation in the beauty spots in the globe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Hey, everybody, we got retired Colonel Don Rixie on the show with us today. He's coming to us remote from Signal Mountain, Tennessee. How many years did you serve in the Army, Colonel?
26.
26 years.
Wow.
That's a good little bit of time. Yeah, give you best years of your life to the United States Army. So
And a couple marriages.
and a couple marriages. Well, you know what the Army always says: if they wanted you to have a wife, they'd have issued you one.
That's exactly right.
That is true. The Marine Corps has that same saying.
Yeah, that's exactly
I think
right.
that one's pretty universal. So
Yeah. Prior to the break, you were telling us a little bit about your career and that you had started things like many do as a second lieutenant, and then we talked about getting your nose broke over the break on a 50 cal, and fill us in on the rest of that story.
Well, I didn't have it. I didn't have a military background in my family, none whatsoever. So, I was a little older when I went in. I was married in college, and then right before I went to basic training, my first child was born. My daughter was born. So she was born, and then 10 days later, I left for basic training and then OCS.
wow.
I wanted to fly helicopters, but I guess I wasn't smart enough, didn't finish high enough in the class or whatever. But was fortunate to be commissioned as an armor officer and then go straight to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and learn all that stuff. And I did my company command at Fort Hood, Texas, in the 1st Cavalry Division, and that's a leadership factory. You got to learn how to lead other men. And get them to do not only what you want them to do, but what they're supposed to do at the standard in which you want them to do it. And that's a absolute learning process. And although I was an athlete, obviously in college, so I consider myself a leader, whatever that means. But still, as a young second lieutenant, and I don't know how many folks you've had on the program that talk about when they were a lieutenant, but if they say that they were not faking it to make it, they're not telling you the truth.
As an enlisted guy, I can tell you, I am certain they're all faking it to make it.
I totally understand. But if you're fortunate enough, as I was, my first platoon sergeant, Sergeant Jeff Chandler, I can't find him now for some reason. He retired as a sergeant major, but I was so blessed to have that human being be my first platoon sergeant as a lifelong armor guy that basically helped me grow up in that environment. And so you mix in a little, athletic background with being a little older, with being driven to succeed and bought into the fact that you're training other people to go to war and their lives might depend on the decision that you're making. That motivates you to figure things out quickly, and be good at your profession. And it is a profession, whether you're there for 3 years or a career. That is your profession, just like a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. A lot of people don't really understand that, but I feel very strongly about that. That is your profession, and lives could be at risk based on how good you are at your profession. So,
and with that though, you obviously that resonated with you, being a leader to them, because you decided to go into some special operations stuff, right?
Well, I was after my company command. Pardon me. After my company command in the 1st Cavalry Division, I got called up to be the general's headquarters commandant as a really relatively midterm captain by General Wesley Clark, who later went on to be the NATO commander and subsequently got relieved and some other stuff. So anyway, while I was up there in the head shed, at the commandant's office, special forces, the special operations recruiters came calling. They have a specific template, I guess, of the officers they want to recruit. Most of them have athletic backgrounds, and they've proven that they're pretty good at what they're doing. So they offered me a chance to go get my master's for free and then go through the training process at John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center at Fort Bragg. So that's what I did. And that's when I made the mistake of checking Arabic.
Yeah.
If I'd have been smarter, I'd have checked Spanish and I'd have spent all my time down, in Costa Rica or something.
that would have been a much better choice. I don't know what you were thinking there.
Well, whatever language you speak, that's where you get to go.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Yeah, for sure.
Is Australian a language?
Right.
You should have checked that, mate.
Yeah.
I think you got to be in the Navy to go.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably.
This is true. This is true. Hey, but tell us about one of your funniest stories from when you were in the military.
Oh, well, I got a couple. I got more than a couple, but
The most radio-friendly one.
okay, that narrows it down quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we'll go to. Okay, I'll give you two quick ones. So when I was a company commander, we're in the National Training Center, getting ready to go up against the OPFOR. We had our mission brief and all that kind of stuff. So we were at nighttime, we were maneuvering to our rally position in order to conduct an offensive operation at, basically a little bit before sunup. So I had sent a lieutenant out to go do a recon.
There you go.
Here
we go.
And okay, so you know how this story ends. He got lost.
Of course.
So we're talking on the radio, and of course on the company net, you got all the other lieutenants are listening, and most of the tanks are listening on the company frequency. So we're trying to walk him back in to where our logger position was. And I'm not making this up. I promise you this happened. So I'm talking to him. He was my first platoon leader, so he's Red 1. So I'm talking to him and trying to guide him in. And so he's looking at landmarks. I'm trying to tell him about landmarks. So he comes back to me and says, if this helps at all, I am under the moon right now.
The whole thing.
Under the moon.
The whole moon. He's right
The whole
under.
moon.
I'm right there.
And it's in the desert, mind you. And that's a training center.
Oh, God.
And it's basically a full moon. It's not a complete full moon, but it's almost a full moon.
Was your reply? I know, son. So am I. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't break squelch right away because I was laughing. And the crew in my tank were laughing, and they started talking about this certain lieutenant, who, by the way, I have to tell you this because
he's a general now. I know you're going to tell me.
No.
Oh.
This will catch you by surprise.
Oh.
Right now, he's a major general.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't doubt.
Of course he is.
Of course he is. Yeah.
But and he was one of my best lieutenants, as it turned out, but he was relatively new.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So anyway, and I'll tell you another quick story real quick. When you go into special operations community, you're automatically on jump status. Well, I went to jump school just to conquer my fear of heights. I was an armor guy, so I figured I'm never going to have to jump again. So when I got recruited in the special operations world, I forgot. It wasn't in the forefront of my mind that you're always on jump status.
Oh.
So we're at Fort Bragg, and we're at the Troy State University satellite campus getting our master's degree. Very first day of class on a Monday, the first sergeant trots in from the headquarters company for the battalion we're assigned to. He has a clipboard, and he says, I got 5 names here, and he reads them off. My last name starts with R, so I was the last one, obviously. And he goes, all those 5 captains, tomorrow you need to go to the flight surgeon's office and have your jump physical. We have pre-jump training on Thursday, and our first jump is Friday. So you still had to jump to maintain proficiency. So I'm looking around going, this wasn't part of the plan. This wasn't part of the plan. I didn't want to jump, but anyway, I did. Yeah. So fast forward that to, there's 5 jumps in airborne school. So 71 jumps later, I'm at MacDill Air Force Base at SOCOM, and we're doing a jump. So it's my last jump. I decided to give up my slot for some sergeant or somebody that could use the huge amount of money that they give you to jump, the $150.
That's right. Yeah.
They give you to jump. So it was my last jump. So we go up at MacDill, and MacDill is on a peninsula that juts out into the bay,
About 20
Tampa
seconds.
Bay and the surrounding areas.
Hey,
So-
Colonel Rixie, look, we got to put a pause in it. We're coming right up on a break, on a hard break. We're going to come back and hear Colonel Rixie's jump story right after this break. So stand by. You don't want to miss it. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
Thanks.
More Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Galena and Brad Borders coming up on 105.9 WSIC.
Well, the heat just stays tough through the rest of our work week. Plenty of sunshine today as we're back in those mid-90s. Feels like
Yes, I do. I was like,
Hey, the rest of that story is going to take about 30 seconds, so it's not long.
Okay.
oh, wonderful. Well, let's.
Yeah, we'll wait.
We'll finish telling that story when we get back, but we want to stay live during the break, anyways.
I just want to give you a heads up on that.
I think it'd be hilarious to fix it while he's live. Let's do that. Yes.
Oh, fix Colonel Rixie's camera?
Are we live yet?
You're setting me up, aren't you?
We are live. Okay. So
Yeah,
I
of
don't
course.
know if you know this. As we've been doing the show, Colonel Rixie, your placard has been. Yes, you are Mr. Wilson from Home Improvement right now. It just keeps traveling further and further up.
This placard.
Yeah. So you've got to adjust your camera.
Up or down?
We need you to go up in the screen because the other way.
Go down.
No.
We could see your whole face.
Perfect. Right there.
Right there. Yeah. It's great. Yay! Go!
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's my bad.
Oh, no. It was pretty funny. I was seeing it creep up, but I didn't want to spend radio time going, hey, you need to fix that name placard there.
Yeah.
Well, nobody on the radio
It's
cares.
on the top of the monitor, kind of.
And you said your son does a podcast with that thing, huh?
Yeah, my son's name's Alex, and he has his best friend is also named Alex. And they do one on Fridays. I don't even know what the name of it is, but they're just having fun.
Double A. It's just called Alex.
Alex Squared.
Alex Squared. Alexis. Alexis.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you want to talk when we go back live on the radio at some point about your experience versus your son's experience difference? Or
we can do both with a majority of it being my son.
Great, yeah. Well, let's have a conversation about that. Okay. I think when we come back from the break, we're gonna do our radio mentions. So you can mention your business that is supporting good old Dale Ogburn for.
We're gonna let him finish the jump story.
No, he can't finish that jump story. I don't want. I've already heard it, and so I don't want to.
Well, I told everybody that he was going to finish.
I'm sorry. I'm keeping that for me.
Told all the listeners.
It's a secret
They're
story.
All waiting all seven of them are waiting with bated breath.
Well, I get. Well, that sucks.
I got to hear about that jump at MacDill Air Force.
I'm also coming to his race on Saturday. I'll be there at Hickory.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll be there too. That'll be good to see you.
I'll be there too. Oh man.
It's going to be tales will be told.
Well,
are you bringing hearing protection?
My daughter. I was speaking to my daughter a little earlier. She reminded me of that.
You have to have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got tinnitus now. Just
I do.
Wait. Just wait until after that. Yours will be ringing till Wednesday of next week.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of loud. That's why I don't usually go to the race. But
my hearing protection is not wearing my hearing aids.
Oh,
there you go. That's right. Yeah.
I don't hear anything anyways right now. It's fine.
No, 1 minute till we go back. So.
1 minute till we're live on the radio. Is this your first time being on the radio?
No.
You didn't act like it.
No.
You act like a pro.
Yeah.
Is it your first time being on the radio and also being video?
No.
All right.
It's the first time I've had trouble with the camera, though.
Right.
Hey, it's not my first.
I'm betting you probably weren't in charge of the camera the previous times, though.
No.
No. You're like the second lieutenant of cameras right now.
That's right.
No, I've progressed up to captain. I think I got promoted to captain.
Noodles come in a squeezable pouch so you have one hand free. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Putting the pieces back together continues now. Here are your hosts, John Galena and Brad Borders, on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Hey, welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. We're glad you're here. We got retired Colonel Don Rixie here, who has a vast array of stories.
That's right.
From his military service. And he was talking right before the break about a particular jump that he wanted to do. A jump out of an perfectly good airplane at MacDill Air Force Base. Colonel Rixie, could you bring us back to that story you were telling us?
Yeah, I can do that. So it was my last jump. And I always told the jump master to put me in the middle of the stick, because if I was up front looking out the door, I probably wouldn't jump. Mm. And if I was at the end and my peers didn't see me, I probably wouldn't go either. I didn't like jumping.
That's good.
So anyway, I'm in the middle of, toward the end of the stick. So we go out, and it's a gorgeous day. It's in the wintertime, so it's kind of crisp, but it's just a clear blue sky. And there's a power plant across the water that the smokestack's going, so that when you know exactly which way the wind's blowing. So I go out, check my chute, it opens, and I'm just kind of lollygagging, looking at everything. It's such a great view. And out of the corner of my eye, I noticed the people that came out behind me were slipping to my left. Slipping means you're, dumping air so you can navigate a little more one way or the other. So I'm going, why did they do that? Well, I looked up, and the dang Air Force had put us out a little late, which they did often. But so they were slipping to get to the grass portion of the landing zone, because the landing zone was right up against the tarmac, where the planes are taking off. Airfield.
Yeah, that's lovely.
So by the time I figured out, and it's kind of my own fault, I should have been paying more attention, but by the time I figured out what was going on, I had dropped enough to where I had to make a value judgment. If I pulled hard and slipped to get to the grass, I would gain a whole lot of speed and probably not be a good landing. Mm. Or I could do what they taught me to do and do a correct PLF, parachute landing fall, and see how it worked out. So the bottom line is, I landed. It's just like a highway. There's a yellow stripe in the middle of the runway, and I landed in the middle of the runway with my feet were pretty close together like they're supposed to be, but I basically split the difference on the yellow line and landed and did my PLF. Stung a little bit because you're not hitting the ground, you're hitting asphalt, but not too bad because I did the correct PLF. And so I was laying there. I didn't pop my quick release, and so the chute caught some air and it drugged me a little bit. So I popped my quick release. So I got up and started doing what you're supposed to do to wind up your chute, put it in your kit bag so you can go to the truck and get off the drop zone. Well, when I stood up, I turned to my right, and everybody was lining the tarmac, and they started clapping, giving me a standing ovation for my last jump.
That's awesome.
So I'll never forget that. My kids know that story. They always remind me of it if I do something stupid. And,
I had a buddy of mine that did his last jump at Bragg on Sicily, or on the St. Mir drop zone, and he popped his quick release, and his chute took off and flew in the air without him. And it flew 7 miles over, and it landed on some dude's house in Rayford. Yeah, and they had to put out on Facebook. Have you seen the chute?
Wow. Well, so he was lucky to get his other arm out from the.
I know. Yeah, it went whoop. It was gone.
Oh,
so
that's lovely.
It was fantastic. So,
man.
Well, Colonel Rixie, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since you got out of the military. You got some exciting things to tell us about.
Well, yeah, I tried being retired for a year, and it didn't work because I was only 51. You can't retire when you're 51. I'd pulled all the weeds out of my garden, and my Tupperware drawer was perfect. Dress right dress, all that kind of stuff. You can't do that forever. So I kind of have an entrepreneurial spirit anyway. So I started the company. First, Veterans Carpet Care to employ my son who had gotten back from Iraq. And then after we sold that business, I then started Veterans Merchant Services, which is we provide merchant services to small business owners, credit card processing. So if you're a retail establishment and you take credit cards as a form of payment, that's what I do. I'm the conduit to make that happen. And so I'm just trying to support small business owners, trying to help them keep more of their money so they can be successful. And in the past, like 4 years or so, I've kind of navigated my way into trying to support veteran-owned businesses and help them save more of their money. And that's how I became familiar with Purple Heart Homes, is through Chris Benson and a gentleman by the name of Jeff Glass that I think you guys
Oh, yeah.
know. And
Over at Meditech.
exactly. So it's been such a blessing, trying to give back. Cause I don't, I'm not chasing money. I don't, I'm blessed. I'm a blessed individual. I have retirement. I get a little bit of disability. My wife makes very good money. And I just want to help them keep more of their money so they can either take a vacation with it, they can reinvest it in their businesses, they can buy new equipment, whatever they need to do, pay bills for goodness sakes. And that's all born out of, my father was a small business owner, and we were fairly poor. We were lower middle class, eating pinto beans and cornbread for dinner,
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
It's good living.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I've been on that end of it. And I don't know how many business owners are in that spot now, because we had 5 boys. We had a lot of mouths to feed. So, it was a little different.
So
But
you're supporting business owners through your business, and you're also supporting a veteran, particularly in another way that Purple Heart Homes is pretty closely tied to. You do anything special this weekend associated with that?
yeah, I'm actually going up to Hickory. I'm watching Dale Ogburn race his car. And I'm a mid-level, I guess you would say mid-level sponsor for his car. He's got my name on the side of it, or Veterans Merchant Services on the side of it.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know,
I'm looking for. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, Purple Heart Homes sponsors Dale Ogburn's car. He won the Carolina Crate Series last year, racing against a lot of people with a lot more money, a lot bigger outfits, and he did it all on his own in his garage using. Oh, I think he's got some like a Pinto transmission in there. Some crazy
a lot
stuff.
of duct tape.
Yeah.
Duct tape.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the story about that, where they some of his competitors were angry that he beat them, and so they had his car inspected just to make sure he was not cheating. And then they inspected his car and took it apart. They found, well, that's a dang Ford Pinto. So it backfired on the people he beat, because they had to admit that they got smoked by a guy that
had a Ford Pinto transmission.
It's even worse. They're like, they shouldn't have tried.
My dad had a Ford Pinto.
Did it go down the racetrack at Hickory Motor Speedway?
It was avocado green. And the thing was horrible.
It did not.
He hated that car.
Did
Hated that car.
I had a Ford Festiva. That was what they traded the Pinto out for.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the next Pinto in line.
Yeah, the Pinto bean is what we used to call that
Don't you
thing.
still have this little itty bitty thing you drive around?
I do. I drive a Mazda 2. I picked it up off of my stepfather. I was driving to Mooresville every day, and
For those who don't know, Devin drives a literal clown car.
it looks like.
It is a clown car.
Have you ever seen Munsters Inc? It looks like Mike Wazowski.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get an image in your head,
That's what Devin looks like driving around in that thing.
I'm going to take it down Hickory Motor Speedway this weekend. I'm going to race Dale Ogburn. I think it's going to be a great time.
My friend Marcus had one of those old Honda Civics from the 70s, the little tiny ones. They were like the forerunner of the smart car. and he liberated 2 Great Danes one night that a friend of ours had, and put them in that car with him and drove around Statesville with those giant dogs in that little car.
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Big dogs in a little car. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, if you want to hear more stories about Brad and Great Danes, then we'll be back after these messages.
You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
That's awesome.
Keep it right here. Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Galena and Brad Borders will return after these messages on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the heat just stays tough through the rest of our work week.
All right. This is back live on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're Facebook Live.
Facebook Live. All right. Yeah, in case you missed it, we've been talking about Great Danes in little cars. Big dogs in little cars.
Devil dog.
I have to ask, Devin, are they going to time you with a calendar when you race?
That's exactly right. With a sundial. With a sundial. Hey, so when we come back from the break, you want to do our list of things that you worked so hard to put together?
We're supposed to do it during the last segment, but that's okay.
But Colonel Rixie wasn't done with his story.
I know, but then you asked him more questions. That's okay.
I know, but it would have been disjointed.
He did work really hard for that.
That's
I
right.
did.
He did. He worked so hard for this.
He said,
I have it right here.
when he came in, he said, Ben, you want this? I said,
no.
Nah, I'm good.
I think Joe takes one of those every week. He's just like, yeah, I'll
Joe's
take
just
one,
being nice,
man.
bro.
Devin's notes are good. That's good devotional reading. I take these home when I do my prayer time in the morning. I start with
Devin, you got to
Devin's
understand
notes.
that Brad's a trained professional.
That's
It's a
right.
great,
You got to give him some leeway.
Yeah. It's well, he's a chaplain, so he makes all those notes, and then he doesn't actually read them. He's just like, I'm just gonna wing it.
He's pretty good at winging it.
I mean, I'm not saying he's not good at winging
What does
it.
that have
I'm
to
just
do with being a chaplain? Right? Chaplains don't always. Not every chaplain is like me.
That is true. You are a very unique chaplain. I will agree.
Most chaplains look at the schedule.
Yeah, are you kidding
Kinda dry.
me? Yeah, and then they avoid everything on it.
Right.
True.
Exactly.
True. My claim to fame when I was in the Army is that I was at everything.
Yeah, they're probably like,
why are you here?
Yeah, are you okay, sir?
Yeah. What are you doing here so early?
Hey, we had chaplains on a lot of our jumps. I had a chaplain in an MATV in our column in Afghanistan out on patrol.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've been on many a patrol. And
He was a stud.
Many. It was great.
Yep.
Except for a couple times.
Except for a couple of times.
Right, yeah. Other than those times, it was great.
It was great every time, except for those times it wasn't. Yeah. It was fine.
And I'm getting a hamstring cramp, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
You ever get a hamstring cramp in the middle of the night?
I do, yeah.
Is that not the worst experience ever?
Your leg seizes up and you're,
and you're like dead asleep and you wake up, bolt out of bed. I've done that a couple of times. Tammy's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong? Do we need to go to the hospital?" No, it's gonna.
Yeah, I'm sure my wife probably does not appreciate that when that happens.
Massage therapy. SerenityNowMassageAndWellness.com with locations in Mooresville and Cornelius.
Now, more Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Galena and Brad Borders on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Hey, welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. Look us up, phhusa.org. We've got some things to talk about.
We do. We're going to make it quick.
You made a list.
I always make a list.
And you checked it twice.
No, I just checked it once.
All right.
Honestly.
What's on the list there, partner?
So we're just going to go over a few things that is going on at Purple Heart Homes. We're going to make it real quick. Military Makeover was in town in Mooresville, North Carolina. That's all wrapped up now. But you're going to be able to see all the things that happen on Lifetime TV. We're going to give you the official launching of the season premiere of that show.
Okay.
And so if you live in North Carolina, you won't want to miss that. You'll recognize some things that
How
happen.
about if you don't live in North Carolina?
Yeah, then you're definitely not going to want to miss it because you'll discover brand new things.
All right.
Yeah. Obviously, we've been talking a little bit with Colonel Rixie about Hickory Motor Speedway this weekend. Our boy boy Dale Ogburn is going to be tearing up the track, driving the Purple Heart Homes car. And
he's got some redemption because he didn't do so well at Hickory back in May.
Did he not?
Nope.
Oh,
And
I didn't realize
so he's got the fire in his eyes.
Oh yeah, well he's coming off of a third place finish last
That's
race,
right.
and so I think he's looking good. So aside from that, Mississippi, if you live or are near Oxford, Mississippi, not the one in England, but the one in Mississippi.
Well,
we're going a big mission.
That would be why you said Oxford, Mississippi.
It is
not Oxford, England.
Well, I didn't want to confuse people.
I don't know. You did it.
It's
they're almost the same.
It's like Denver,
almost
North
exactly
Carolina.
the same.
It's not the same.
That's right.
Yeah, well, Oxford, Mississippi, we're going to take a tiny home, put it on a trailer, drive it down there for a veteran who is in need.
Yeah, brother Frankie Dunn is going to get a new home.
Yeah.
And
right now he's sleeping on a relative's couch, and that's no way for one of our veterans to live.
No. I got to say thank you to the Ole Miss ROTC group. They're going to come out and provide a honor guard.
Absolutely.
And be on site for that.
The
So super.
Army ROTC.
Actually, it could be. They have Army ROTC, but it's the only university in the country that has all branches of ROTC.
Yeah, I saw that. I was looking that up. So will they do a mixed thing?
They may be doing a mixed thing. The Army guys reaching out to all the other branches. It's going to be a joint task force.
Oh man, that is cool. Hey, if you want to see what they end up with, come out there and join us. It's it's a celebration for the whole community.
Cool. What else we got?
Full Bloom Film Festival is coming up in September. If you are a local to Statesville, North Carolina, we've got some involvement in that. A little more to come.
September 5th through September 7th. It's a big deal.
And we may be having some of the participants, the directors, producers, writers, be on the show here in the future.
Oh, that'd be groovy.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
I know Jason Keating's film is going to be shown this year at Full Bloom.
It is.
That is a big deal. Jason is a local veteran, a Marine Corps veteran that made a film, and so part of it was filmed at Purple Heart Homes.
It certainly was, yeah. And then the Patriots Clay Shoot Challenge at Hyatt Farms, September 12th. Registrations are open. If you're interested in registering a team or being a sponsor.
That is going to have a really cool thing. There's a special station at the Clay Shoot this year. There's two special stations. One has got it's called the Judge's Station.
The Judge's Station.
Where you get to shoot a Taurus Judge, a pistol shotgun.
Oh, yeah.
At a Clay. Yeah, you get to shoot. I actually did it.
Oh, wow.
When we were down there doing the site survey. And Tammy?
It was really cool.
Did I nail it?
You did.
I did.
Oh, that's awesome.
Shot a Clay out of the air with a pistol.
I was impressed.
Like Annie Oakley, except for Brad Oakley. All right.
Brad Oakley.
Yeah.
And we've already talked a little bit about Take That Hill, but registrations are open.
I hung the event registration in the Facebook comments.
Yeah.
So
and it's not too late to be a sponsor. So
prices go up tonight.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Better sign up
It's
fast.
definitely not too late to be a sponsor. We are taking all sponsors. Colonel Rixie, we're taking sponsors. So just want to let you know. Taking sponsors for that event. It is a phenomenal event.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's back to Colonel Rixie. Yeah. Well, hi. How you doing there, sir?
He was like, my turn to talk now?
Yeah.
I'm just listening, being entertained.
Awesome. So you've been telling us a little bit about your business that you have that helps veterans keep more of their money. If I'm going to quote you directly, how did you get involved with sponsoring a race car? How'd that come about?
Through Jeff Glass and Chris Benson introduced me to Dale. Just so everybody knows, he's also a special operations type veteran. And just a good human. I tend to judge people. You're either a good human or you're not.
Yeah.
And he's a good human.
He is.
So that's how I got. He needed some help. And more than happy to do it. Also gave him a little. He's going up to New York to race. He got invited up there in a higher classification. So we helped him a little bit. Not just me. A lot of folks helped him a little bit to help. Because there's expenses he's incurred with gas for his race car and tires for his race car and all that.
That stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's incredibly expensive.
Oh man, yeah. Like I don't know exactly what a set of tires costs anymore. I used to have a pretty
Probably
good
not
idea.
$100.
No, it's not like putting them on the old Mazda 2.
The clown car.
Which is expensive in its own.
Yeah, you have to get better tires if you're going to haul around some Great Danes, though.
Yeah, oof. Yeah. Funny thing about that car. My stepfather had 189-pound Great Pyrenees.
Oh wow! In that car?
And he would put it in the back seat. He'd open up the window on one side,
tail out the side, and head out the other one.
That one was my mom's dog, but it was his car, so he would take the dog for rides in that car, and it loved it. And
cool.
It looked even.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the car looked even smaller with that dog.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
I'm sure it did. So, Colonel Rixie, if somebody's interested in getting involved with your business, how do they get in touch with you?
Really easy. I have veteransmerchantservices.com is our website.
Okay.
All you got to do is go there, and there's an inquiry button. You just fill out your information, and it comes to me, and be happy to help people out. There's all kinds of, it is 2024. The technologies are unbelievable.
This is true.
If you're in the service industry, I can do the mobile card readers that they link through a Bluetooth to your phone, to an app on your phone, so you can take a payment on site. We can link through your website to basically the shopping cart if you want to pay online. We can do all that kind of stuff. That's what Chris Benson does with Troops Hall Junk. If you have a brick and mortar building, an old retail building or retail operation that you just need a machine on your counter for people to come in and either tap their card or put their chip card in, do all that. I mean, it runs the gamut from kind of some high speed technology toward some basic technology. Bottom line is, just want to help them keep more of their money.
Yeah.
They got to pay enough. They got to pay enough.
This is true. Yeah. More. I mean, business has changed. Since since the 80s. That is for sure. And primarily people dealing in cash money. When I was coming up, and now. It's like weird because like when we go places,
cash stuff.
Yeah, Tammy always carries a little bit of cash around with her. And we try to pay for as much as we can in cash. And people, you get to a register and people go, "Oh, you're paying in cash." And we were like, "Yeah, right." It's legal tender.
And if you give them an extra dollar instead of giving them over a quarter or something because it's 12 cents, you didn't want to carry a.
They don't know how to make change.
That's right.
We've only got a couple minutes left, Colonel. Is there anything that you want to say?
Well, we talked briefly about the transition out of the military, and whether you're coming out after your first contract or you spent 26 years or more, like myself. It's not necessarily easy one way or the other because we learn certain traits and we practice them and perfect them, and that permanently affects how we go about living our lives. So if you're getting out of the service, I would just say, or you have gotten out of the service, I would say, trust the training that you've been through because it applies everywhere.
Yeah.
Being on time, being where you're supposed to be with what you're supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
Having some standards. There's nothing wrong with having high standards. People make fun of it because they can't reach your level of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
true.
Just don't listen to all that. Use the skills that you were taught and perfect them, and use the leadership skills and things like that. And the civilian sector is lacking in people that have high standards and do what they say they're going to do and do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
absolutely.
And you can succeed. Nobody said it's easy, but you can definitely succeed.
That's cool. Well, if you want to meet Colonel Rixie and shake his hand, tell him thanks for his service in person, you can do that at Hickory Motor Speedway Saturday night, where we're going to watch Dale Ogburn, take it to some folks. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
It's gonna
and
be awesome.
we'll have Colonel Rixie back on again. We didn't get to touch on everything, so we'll look forward to that. And we got a lot of great shows coming up here in the future.
We do,
and some special surprises.
There's some rumors.
Oh,
special surprises.
So
Stay tuned. Hey, y'all have a great weekend. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. Thanks for tuning in.
You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. Please consider making a donation to this worthwhile cause dedicated to improving the lives of veterans one home at a time by visiting purplehearthomesusa.org. Join us again next Thursday at 3 p.m. for Putting the Pieces Back Together on WSIC News Talk Now.
Serving you better than.
Hey, thanks, Don. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, that was a blast.
It was a good time.
I appreciate that very much.
It went too fast, didn't it?
It always goes fast.
It always does. It always does. But yeah, if there's ever another opportunity, I would like to talk about like we've talked, Devin, about. I'm blessed that my transition wasn't that difficult. But I do have a son that was in the 1st Cat Division. Matter of fact, when I was in Afghanistan in 2011, he was in Iraq at the same time. And then after that, he got out of the service. So there's definitely some things, some lessons learned there that could be shared.
For sure.
We're going to be going to a pre-recorded format here soon. And with that, we'll have a little bit longer of a show.
Dig into that.
What's that?
We'll be able to dig into that.
Yeah, we will.
Stuff.
And that's something that's going to take just